Iron is a major military resource, so this is huge.
Ooh, okay.
We just have to kill all the slave laborers and claim the mines for ourselves.
Nice.
Except this one. It's guarded by a...
Sorry, that sounded bad. He's like, kill the slave laborers. I'm like, hell yeah. Hey guys, welcome back on another Reggie React. This time he's playing Conquest of Elysium. I have no idea what it is, but apparently he hired 10,000 assassins to achieve world peace, so I like where his head is at. So like that smash button, let's get into it.
This video is sponsored by War Thunder. Fellas, have you ever wanted to get trampled to death by wild animals? Do battle against midget pirate necromancers.
I wouldn't say that's like top 5 on the list, maybe like top 10.
Accidentally travel to another dimension, go insane, and die all within the span of 2 hours?
Oh.
Well, if so, you've got two options. One of them involves swallowing 60 milligrams of DMT, and the other is playing Conquest of Elysium 5.
Okay.
Because all of that is exactly the average Conquest of Elysium experience. This is a game where you don't question why there's a chicken man with snakes for legs. You merely ponder whether your level 9 flesh pile could swallow and digest him. But don't worry.
What the fuck is happening?
Warphilia
We're
is
not even a minute in the way through and I'm like, this shit is insane.
not the topic of today's video. Instead, we'll be playing as the new faction, the Guildmaster. This
Oh.
seemingly innocuous man travels the world establishing a variety of guilds in each of the major cities to gain advantages. I install
Okay.
a mage's guild in my enemy's capital and cast a spell to steal his eyeballs.
Oh.
Then, using a banker's guild, I repossess his house and pay several assassins to stab all of his close friends.
Nice.
This is very fun and absolutely broken. Don't believe
Oh,
me?
okay.
Just look at the data. This graph depicts the economic power of
What?
a dozen factions. The Guildmaster is the red line, but you can't see that because it's all the way up here. If
I was like, what the fuck are we looking at?
this class was any less balanced, the spiffing Brit himself
Oh.
would enter a vegetative state as he achieved the world's largest erection. But that's enough talking. Let's start the game.
What the fuck is going on?
And see for ourselves. I set up a match against 10 AI with a 200% buff to their income,
Oh.
and after selecting a compelling name for our commander, we load into the world. Starting off on a mostly uninhabited island is very fortunate for us, but if we want to start abusing the guild system, we're going to need to accumulate some resources. So I waste no time and begin killing the locals. These gray people are called the Independents, and I know some of them look like
Okay.
humans, but trust me, they're a lot closer to ants or maybe a sentient fungus.
Ew.
As such, they have no rights and we will be exterminating them. After a
Oh,
few
look at that. They're just like done. Like a couple shots, exterminated.
turns, we managed to take a couple of cities and even a silver mine to bolster our economy. Right on time, we also receive a notification that one of our enemies has been ripped apart by otherworldly horrors. Don't worry, this is not uncommon. In fact, it's actually pretty good, because the Scourge Lord is a high-level griefer. His faction
What?
mechanic revolves around erecting obelisks all over the map and turning the entire world into a giant desert. I look at a thriving metropolis and think, wow, I'd love to own that. The Scourge Lord looks at the same metropolis and thinks, what if it was a pile of sand instead? Point is, no one likes him, rest in piss, bozo. Now that we've got a basic stream of income, I take our commander back to the island and start establishing a few guilds. For now, we're just
More
going to stack
guilds.
thieves guilds because they give us a bit of money and also produce roaming gangs of brigands that can capture territory for
Oh,
us.
okay.
But we can't control them, which means they can also wander into a random monster and die painfully. In fact, a brigand's internal struggle between being useful and dying to a swarm of bees is the ultimate exercise in
Damn.
personal autonomy. Additionally, we start up a couple of traders
Tough
guilds. Each one of these increases our gold income by 10%. My inner capitalist is breathing deeply and groaning at the thought of stacking 50 traders guilds. But first, we need more cities.
Nice.
After claiming the rest of the settlements on our island, I wait for winter to come around, at which point we cross an ice bridge into the northeast. Here, we find the Scourge Lord's abandoned citadel along with a shitload of iron mines. Iron is a major military resource, so this is huge.
Ooh,
We just
okay.
have to kill all the slave laborers and claim the mines for ourselves.
Nice.
Except this one. It's guarded by a...
Sorry, that sounded bad. He's like, kill the slave laborers. I'm like, hell yeah.
Giant slime that has acid for blood. So when a soldier runs up and stabs it, he and the 12 people closest to him are promptly dissolved in a pool of caustic chemicals. So we're leaving that one alone. But before we go any further, I have to tell you about the sponsor of today's video. 4 months ago, I was the victim of a highly unusual home invasion. The criminal infiltrated my house through the septic tank and ambushed me in my sleep. He grabbed me by the shoulders and with a cold, dead look in his eyes, he said, "Listen, guy, if you don't tell me about the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, I'm gonna blow my goddamn head off." To which I replied, "That's easy. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, with over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from 10 major nations. But what about the realism?" He screamed in my face. "You sweet summer child, the graphics and sound effects are so realistic that I've completely lost my grasp on reality." He put the gun down, and I continued.
I love it when that
The best
happens.
part is there's over 95 million players to share this experience with, and it's available on PC, console, and mobile devices. The power of War Thunder made this man reconsider his life choices, and when I told him that each vehicle is meticulously modeled down to its individual components with in-depth damage x-rays available on every kill, he broke down crying. "I was a fool to spend my life crawling through septic tanks when I could have been playing the greatest game of all time.
You could have.
Please forgive me." To which I replied, "I will, but only if you click the link in the description to try War Thunder for free. New and returning PC and console players can receive a massive bonus pack featuring multiple premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days premium access for a limited time only. That man did it, and now he's a doctor. Thank you, War Thunder."
Shit.
Now back to the
All right.
video. By this point, we've got 2 main branches of territory, our starting island and the mines in the north. Now we just need to connect them. But there's one thing standing in our way, the Voice of El. This is a faction
that?
of religious extremists led by the Archbishop, whose
Fun
life
stuff.
goal is, and I'm not exaggerating, to start the apocalypse and kill everyone, including himself. Basically, not a very chill guy. So we're not going to bother with diplomacy. Instead, we'll utilize the
Not
power
chill.
of our guilds to take
It's not very pog.
out. So far, the Thieves Guild hasn't been doing a lot for us. In fact, I've personally witnessed 7 generations of brigands all die to the same elephant. But we can fix that. I take our commander back to the island.
I don't know if these brigands are doing like anything of value. I think they're just like funny and they just like get killed by their own stupidity.
And start upgrading each Thieves Guild into an Assassin's Guild. This increases the number of brigands produced and also gives us the option to sign assassination contracts against specific factions. So I
love
grab a
that.
contract, do a little color matching to make sure
yeah.
I'm targeting the right guy, and then I sign it. This spawns an assassin at each of the guilds. These units specialize in killing enemy commanders, and if a player has no remaining commanders, their entire faction gets wiped out. So now you probably see the vision. Establish hundreds of Assassin's Guilds all over the world and massage our enemies into extinction. That all sounds fine and good, but right now we've only got 3 assassins, and the first one drowned in shallow water, the second accidentally
Wait, what? Why did that happen? I don't know. These, like, he couldn't, like, use a bridge to get over to the other side. He had to drown himself. Are you kidding me? These assassins, they're not sending their best.
got teleported into a magical forest 700 kilometers away, and I just generally don't have a lot of confidence in the third one. So for the time being, we might need a more conventional approach. I use our new income of iron to recruit a bunch of crossbowmen, and we start heading toward the Archbishop. We close in on his capital city, but it's too well defended, so instead I capture a nearby city and start using it to recruit siege weapons. In response, the Archbishop performs a ritual to break the first heavenly seal. This summons one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, Pestilence. That's a crazy response to getting a new neighbor, but we'll roll with it. Luckily, the horseman is like
Seriously?
200 kilometers away. However, he is heading straight for us, so it's time to hurry this up. Quickly attacking his capital, we use our ballistae to weaken the defenders, and then spend the rest of the fight praying our commander doesn't get shot in the face. Fortunately, our face remains unpenetrated, and we win the battle.
Nice.
This secures us a lot of income and a forward stronghold for our empire. The clergy makes a few attempts to take it back, attacking us with some crusaders and even a flaming sword. But like an obsessed fan, he's still there and still coming to murder us. On that note, quick shout out to Murgos the Guild Assassin, who actually actually tried to kill the Horseman of Pestilence with a 1 to 3 damage poison dagger. Didn't work, and he contracted every known disease just by trying. Compounding this issue is the fact that we've just run into our next enemy to the
I mean, like, W to the assassin for trying, though.
south, the Bakimono. This is a goblin faction that's deeply steeped in Japanese mythology and aesthetic. It is also one of the strongest factions in the game. For example, let's look at the score graph for military power. This red line is us.
Ooh, kind of like right in the middle there. I thought he would be better, but I was wrong.
And the purple is the Bakimono.
Oh, that's not good.
In this moment, I understand
That's like the number going up that you don't want to see.
what it feels like to be a terrorist on monkey bars going up against the American military-industrial complex.
Literally.
And while that is very humbling, we can at least take solace in the fact that our economy is looking pretty
All
good.
right.
But we need to
Hey,
survive
we got capitalism on our side.
long enough for any of that to matter. Presently, our brigand gangs have started clashing with the Bakimono scouts, and it's not
shit.
going well. In fact, they're pushing us with an army of 170 soldiers led by some kind of snake wizard. The Bakimono are difficult because they can summon a wide variety of monsters, ranging from giant demonic
that's
samurai
cool.
to balding turtle
Ooh, giant demonic samurai, yes.
men.
And turtle men? What?
Personally, my favorite are the Oni, because much like the obese, they have a canonical weakness to vegetables. Now, regardless of my
Love that.
appreciation for Bakimono culture, this army is an issue. However, in what can only be described as an orgasm-inducing stroke of luck, the Horseman of Pestilence rode straight into them. I'm thinking, he'll kill all the Bakimono, and I can go back to making more guilds.
Love
However,
that.
not only did they survive, they actually
What?
killed a Rider of the Apocalypse. This was a heroin
That's crazy. They are the most OP faction then in this game.
revelation. On the upside, the Horseman did manage to inflict a disease upon the entire army. This
Oh,
status
nice.
slowly decomposes affected units each turn until they die. Basically, everyone in
So
this
really, he just has to outlive them because their attrition is going to kill them over time. So he just has to not die before they do. I think he could do it.
army is in the irreversible process of turning into fertilizer, and I think that is pretty cool. Just to make sure they don't get any ideas about attacking us before that happens, I assassinate their general, which
Oh,
leaves
nice.
around 120 units stranded without a commander. I call this a dead army, not because it's dead, but because without a commander, it can't move. That's normally a
Oh,
moderate
interesting.
inconvenience, because you can just send a replacement commander to go get them. However, in the world we are striving to build, we will produce so many assassins that every turn we're killing the commander, the replacement commander, and the
Oh,
replacement commander's replacement, thereby
Oh.
completely paralyzing our enemy's military. I know that
that's really smart. I love this.
this probably comes across as the ravings of a meth-addled lunatic, but it's possible. We just need more guilds. With the main Bakimono army turning into mulch, I invest in furthering our guild infrastructure. This results in us running into an orange faction led by the Enchanter. This is, without a doubt, the worst faction,
What the fuck is wrong with you? Wow, he's all the way in that tier on the bottom.
because their commander is an agoraphobic maniac that never leaves his castle. Instead, he spends all day using high-level incel magic to create an army out of inanimate objects. This
Oh.
used to be a tree. That was an iron mine. Now, they're his only friends. Normally, I'd make fun of someone.
Wait, that's like kind of cool that he just is making, I guess, these giant magical golems out of trees
For
and
being
mines.
a paranoid schizophrenic. But for once, he's actually right, because we've been spamming guild contracts, and the entire countryside is swarming with invisible assassins.
Ooh.
Luckily for the Enchanter, he's too pathetic to assassinate, so I return my attention to the Bakimono. I've sent a few medium-sized armies into his territory to test his defenses, and he kicked the ever-living shit out of all of them. You see, we're at a major
no.
disadvantage,
That's not good.
because he has real magic, whereas we just
Yikes.
have vague ideas about capitalism. capitalism.
I have concepts of a plan.
Point is, if we want to win this war, we're going to need a plan. So here it is. Step 1. We infiltrate Bakimono territory with a guild master and start establishing thieves guilds behind enemy lines. This will severely damage their economy, and the brigands produced will destabilize their borders. Basically, we're doing sleeper cells. Step 2. We invest hundreds of gold into a massive assassination campaign to degrade Bakimono leadership and kill off their high-level casters. Trust me, it's a lot easier to deal with 300 shitty goblins than 30 magical demons. Step 3. We capture a forward operating base and begin recruiting dozens of catapults. Then we establish an alchemist's guild, which allows us to modify the catapults to fire giant casks of napalm. Step 4.
Napalm, yes!
We take our new siege army south and start mercilessly cooking every Bakimono settlement we can find. The trick here is that we can only use siege weapons against fortified settlements. So step 5 is to lure the Bakimono into taking castles from us. Then we show up next turn with the siege army and go Scorched Earth. Oh wow, Bakimono, you captured my guard tower. How will I ever recover? Now stand still while I burn off all of your skin. Guildmasters everywhere are horribly incinerating their political enemies with this one simple trick. After 10 turns of that, we've carved our way down to the Bakimono capital. It's guarded by 200 people that I don't care about, which made this next part really easy, because I closed my eyes and fired 225 flaming barrels over the walls, which killed about half of the population before the fight even began. After that, we stabbed the survivors and declared a major victory for guild supremacy.
Damn, is it over? You got them all?
Not long after this moment, the final Bakimono commander was shanked to death by 4 assassins in an obscure harbor village, at which point his faction went extinct. Yet again, the free market prevails. While all of that was happening, I was also waging a war against the Cobalt King in the southwest. I'll keep his backstory simple. Magical lizard that uses mine shafts to hatch more lizards. Easily killed.
Love that for them.
By squashing beneath one's foot until Big Lizard. In addition to the threat of late-game dragons, the kobolds have been sailing armies across the channel and ransacking our home base for the past 20 turns. And as much as I hate him for it, it's a damn good idea. So let's try it ourselves. I hired a Pegasus rider to fly over the water and scout for some good targets. However, I forgot that flying units need to rest every few turns, and our Pegasus got exhausted, fell out of the sky, and promptly drowned in the ocean. Attempt 2 went a little better.
Why are there no bridges in this game? Or why hasn't he found... I thought I saw like a bridge on this map like earlier. Like, wouldn't that be better?
By revealing several hatcheries guarded by a few dragons, it's time to start building an invasion force. Back on our island, I recruit a few hundred soldiers and some siege equipment. Then we build a shipwrights guild to give us access to large-scale naval transport. Following this, I group everyone up, throw them on the boats, and set sail for the Cobalt port of Blackwater. Mid-transit, we got intercepted by the, at the time still alive, Bakimono Navy, which initiated naval combat. That's right, the year is 2025, and Warhammer Total War 3 doesn't have naval battles, but Conquest of Elysium 5 does.
Wait, so there's like these vampire pirates, but there's no naval battles. I didn't realize that. Maybe like someone will make a mod, or like they'll come out with an expansion or something. I think naval battles are quite underrated. Like, they're so fun. The only game with naval battles I've played is probably Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the naval battles in that game are so fucking awesome. Like, if you get the DLC, you can get the ancient Greek flamethrower, and that shit is awesome. The ancient Greek flamethrower is attached to the ship, and you just get to like blast other ships with the fire.
In fact, naval combat is a lot of fun because it has very different strategies. It is totally viable to use a pyromancer to burn a hole in your enemy's ship, at which point the entire thing will sink, killing everyone on board. Or if you're more sadistic, you can just cast mass confusion on the enemy crew, which causes them to beat the shit out of each other before accidentally falling overboard and drowning. Now you tell me which one's the...
You can't just add ship battles to a game. It requires a massive overhaul of the combat systems and code base. Chad is like, so?
AAA game.
Boom.
Anyway, the battle went fairly well. The enemy had several amphibious kappas, but we brought enough ranged units to kill them on approach. The bigger issue was our commander had a cursed item that forced him to behave like a suicidal maniac. So he jumped off the boat and started swimming straight at the enemy warship, at which point he got smoked in the face with a fireball and died. This is why we bring backup commanders. Continuing onward, we land at Blackwater, and the garrison of 13 albino geckos is powerless to stop us. Now we've got a base of operations to recruit more units within Cobalt country. Predictably, the Cobalt sent an army of 300 to push us back, but they didn't bring a backup commander. And after plunging a dagger through their general's frontal lobe, their entire defensive army is stranded way over here, off to a great start. From here, I begin cleaning out all of the Cobalt hatcheries and preparing for the final siege against their capital, which is defended by about 400 units. However, that turns out to be completely unnecessary, because next turn, 3 of my assassins roll up, snipe his final commander who's not even on the screen, and just like that, the Cobalt faction is relegated to non-existence. I cannot believe this is working. Taking out the Cobalts and Bakimono was a huge milestone, but according to this graph, there's a foreign superpower rising in the west, so we've still got some work left to do. However, for the time being, I decide to double back and focus on infrastructure. With 30% of the map now under our control, I put assassins guilds everywhere. Major cities, market villages, even goddamn sky castles. You can't go anywhere without getting stabbed. Boris Johnson would be proud. This sounds great.
Wait, that joke was way too fucking real right now. Oh my god.
But the major drawback is how long it makes our turns, because every time I sign an assassination contract, I have to watch patiently for 5 to 7 minutes as my 75 assassins bumble around the map and drown constantly. If you don't mind not
just drowning in this game. This is a real fucking problem.
Knowing what the fuck is going on, you can fix this by setting the turn timer to 50 milliseconds. Oh yeah, this is so much better. Other than that, I also upgraded all of our assassins guilds into shadow stalker guilds. This doubles the amount of brigands they produce. So when you look at this swarm of armies patrolling the map, just remember that only 5 of them are manually controlled. The rest is an extension of our will, like some kind of autonomous assassination appendage. Additionally,
what did that say? Some random dickhead has been eliminated, yes.
Additionally, I went to the Alchemy Guild and recruited about a dozen alchemists. Then I hyperinflated the global currency by spamming greater alchemical conversion 500 times. This converts
that's really cool.
1 iron to 7 gold. And with 12 alchemists, that's an extra 84 gold per cast, which
he's just rolling in the dough now.
Then use to buy 84 iron, and the cycle continues. Also, I've been trying really hard to ignore the enchanter, because I feel a certain respect toward his antisocial—
Wait, is that Asmongold House? Is that Asmongold again?
tendencies. However, on one occasion, he actually worked up the courage to leave his house. And I'm not proud to say this, but I accidentally trampled him to death with a bunch of horses.
See, this is why you never leave the house, okay?
Worse yet, since he didn't have any friends, his entire faction immediately died. My guilt is immeasurable. To cheer myself up, I decided to build a Void Pilots Guild. This allows us to recruit special boats that can sail into different dimensions. It is not enough that we conquer mankind. Other realities must also accept guild membership. First things first, we take the fancy boat, sail it off the edge of the world, and end up in the void. A trip to the void is a lot like ingesting 3,000—
Okay, so his entire army has a problem with drowning, so like water is a problem, but he thinks the void is just gonna be like fine, I don't know.
milligrams of gamma hydroxybutyrate, because at the end of every turn, you're going to wake up in a different place with no memory of how you got there. If you stay too long, you will go insane, and if you're not careful, the Fent monsters will find and kill you.
The Fent monsters? Is that what they're called?
Frankly, it sucks. But there are some resources to gather, so let's see what we can find. After a bit of wandering around, I stumbled upon a portal that took us to the elemental plane, where I then found a scroll, and upon reading it, we were immediately teleported to hell. Truly, literacy is the most heinous crime of all. The fun thing about hell is that it contains the spirits of every mortal unit that died in Elysium. So hypothetically, we could find the Archbishop and kill him all over again. I was pretty excited about starting a new chapter of our guild here, but before I had a chance to do that, I suffered several psychotic episodes and got killed by demons. 10 out of 10 experience. Exactly what I wanted from my eternal damnation. Back in the real world...
Yeah. So funny.
I thought it might be fun to build an adventurers guild. These operate similarly to thieves guilds in that they produce autonomous armies, except instead of an army of illiterate men that smell like cigarettes dipped in piss, this guild generates randomized D&D parties. Wizards, warriors, rogues, stuff like that. All in all, it's very cute, and I thought it might be interesting to follow the first party and see what noble adventures unfold. This first group was led by Verabeth the Warrior Saint, and it had several thieves, a necromancer, a dwarf, and a barbarian. For their first heroic quest, they traveled...
That's definitely a D&D party right there.
Westward.
And look, they've got the bear, so maybe someone will find it.
Eventually finding and slaughtering an innocent family of mountain goats. Kind of fucked up, but let's see where this goes. After that, they tried to banish some evil spirits from an abandoned castle, but the difficulty spike from goats to demonic banshees was a bit too much, and there were only 4 survivors. And they didn't even last long, because the turn after, a pink faction showed up and butchered all of them. This is a dark day indeed. Well, maybe that was just bad luck. Let's pick a different party and follow them. These guys went south into the desert before running into another pink army, at which point an enemy druid transformed all of our heroes into trees. I cannot cope with this level of humiliation, so I disbanded the Adventurers Guild and got back to work. But who is this mysterious pink faction that has been committing war crimes against the good members of our guild? Turns out it's the Senator. This faction is a Roman republic focused around gold generation and massive armies of legionaries. They're actually pretty similar to us in playstyle, so fighting them should be a good test. One notable difference is that this version of the Roman Empire appears to have figured out how to domesticate mythological creatures, such as giant crabs and even werewolves. I find this to be a thought-provoking historical revision. Could Joe Swanson Family Guy have stabbed Julius Caesar 23 times if he was protected by an honor guard of crustaceans and horny furries? Historians may never know, but we're going to find out if
I don't know about that one, dog.
our assassins can, because you better believe I'm signing 75 contracts against the Senator every turn, with a contract killer occupying about 50% of the square.
I don't know, I feel like he needs some mythical creatures to like even it out. I don't know about this one.
On the map, it has never been more dangerous to be alive. We're killing everyone. Political enemies, random animals, doesn't matter. If you've got a pulse, we've got a problem. Speaking of problems, the Senator is pushing us from the...
Isn't that like Reggie in every video? Like, anything else that has a pulse is a problem.
West with several armies. Naturally, we kill the commanders, but then he rolls up with a new army, combines it with the old ones, and keeps pushing. We kill the new commanders too, but he's replacing them really fast, and this results in him snowballing dozens of armies into one mega death stack of nearly 1,000 pissed off Romans, which I don't even think we can fight at this point.
Yeah,
I have some ideas though. Currently, we have a few mages, but their most powerful spell is Animate Shrubbery, which in the face of the entire Roman Empire,
if anyone should hit the bush, they are likely to break it.
Isn't going to cut
This makes the bush almost useless in combat.
So I started investing in several mages guilds to attract higher quality wizards. We just need to wait for them to arrive. Unfortunately, time is at a bit of a premium because the big pink dick of the Senate has finally pushed past our assassins, and it's attacking us at this tower. Against upwards of 600 enemies, I'm not expecting much from this garrison, but they actually operate at 900 IQ for this entire fight because the archers mow down the advancing Romans while the sorceress casts mass confusion spells to delay them. Eventually, they break down the tower gate.
You know, I think like mass confusion spells spells and stuff like that is very like underestimated in video games. And it's underestimated by me because I'm always like, mass confusion, I don't need that shit. But then it's like, no, they literally will attack each other. And it's just like so OP. Reggie did this in his Baldur's Gate 3 video too.
We spam summon skeletons to block the doorway and maximize the uptime on our crossbows. All in all, we lost. But this was a huge proof of concept for magic as the answer to the Roman question. Over time, I was able to recruit a few level 2 and 3 wizards, which can easily wipe out entire armies depending on their spells. This was nice, but we can go even further. You see, right now the Senator is engaging us in 5 to 10 mid-sized skirmishes every turn. We're fighting them on land, at sea, and if they decide to invade the cosmic plains of nothingness, I'm ready to fight them there too. Honestly, we're pretty evenly matched, but the issue is we're being too defensive. However, I have a plan to fix that using teleportation. Thanks to our maxed out mages guilds, we can now create arcane portals in our major cities to allow for fast travel. So we put one portal down in the desert, surrounded by 5 different recruitment centers. Then we managed to get another portal at this stronghold deep in Roman territory. Now we can recruit 50 units a turn and teleport them straight into the heart of the Roman Empire. I'm not convinced we can kill the Senator with this alone, but I am convinced I can make his life a living nightmare by using this to establish a dozen thieves guilds in all of his cities. I began enacting the plan, and before long, the entirety of Rome was swarming with lawless criminals. Genuinely, there was nowhere for the Senator to hide, and before long, we managed to assassinate him and his body double. Truly a masterstroke in political violence. All of this destabilized the Roman Empire enough for us to easily take their capital, and I was forming up one final army to siege their last major city when I received a notification. The Senator has been eliminated by the Cloud Lord. Turns out, while he was fighting us, the Senator was also waging war against the sky. More specifically, a race of winged cloud people. And whether or not they realize it, by killing the Senator, they just made us the most powerful faction in the game by a wide margin. You see, the Senator was the only faction that was capable of matching our sheer volume of brigand hordes. And much like a game warden mowing down feral hogs from a helicopter, he was keeping our population in check. But now without him, we're going to run absolutely wild on Elysium. Every turn, I add 5 more thieves guilds to the map, and every turn, the swarm of brigand thieves intensifies, swallowing up everything in its path. After 20 turns, we have captured so much territory that our economy has become the economy. And compared to the remaining factions, we are like the omniscient amalgamation of every billionaire in the world, while everyone else is some kind of illiterate...
Wait, who was that picture of? He said amalgamation of like every billionaire in the world, so I think he like used some AI to kind of like combine Elon Musk and like Bill Gates' face or something in this.
Billionaire in the world, while everyone else is some kind of illiterate dirt salesman. On that note, there are only 3 resistance factions remaining, and I won't pretend that killing them was difficult, but it was kind of fun. Here's how it went. First target, the Markgraf. Basically, it's a society of gnomes that dabble in the occult. I dabble in building a gigantic army and staging naval landings at their major cities. This faction likes to turtle up, so I made an engineers guild and had the boys modify our ballistae to fire electric bolts. This has maximized our gnome killing efficiency. As we close in on the final gnomish settlement, the Markgraf gets desperate and begins performing necromantic rituals.
His like army is so like huge. Oh my god. Like he just like completely owned this entire game.
Rituals to summon an army of the dead. But he's about 90 turns too late for that to matter, and we waste no time wiping him out at Jabero. Next up is the Baron. Traditionally a very powerful and versatile medieval faction, they've since been relegated to hiding out in their castles to survive the vermintide of brigands that have been unleashed upon the world. However, the Baron also struck up some alliance with the Cloud people, and he started using Cloudfolk commanders and soldiers. This is a problem, because they're completely immune to poison, which makes them almost impossible to assassinate. On top of that, ever since I started making assassins guilds, the Baron himself has been in hiding, and I haven't seen him for about 100 turns, until randomly, one of my scouts found him hiding out in the mountains. Upon being spotted, the Baron fled into a nearby city, but we followed him, and while his armor can deflect crossbow bolts, it cannot deflect a full blast ballista to the face. Yes, this is
Seriously?
the fantasy equivalent of executing your political enemies with an anti-aircraft gun. After that, we just had to manually clean up a few Cloud Soldier armies and then capture his final castle. Final
Nice.
target, the
Nice.
Cloud Lord. This guy was the hardest
Ooh.
of the three because he has decent magic, good mobility, and I don't know what any of his spells do. For example, this castle is protected with a rainbow wall. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by that either.
So I sacrificed 120 men to find out. Contrary to popular belief, the rainbow wall doesn't turn your soldiers bisexual.
See, that's what I thought it did. And then they would just be like so into each other that they would just like lose all motivation to fight.
It just kills them. And we just killed all of the Cloud people over the next 20 turns, slowly and painfully wearing all of their armies down and picking off their castles. Random side note here, but while I was traveling through the sky, I came across a sub-faction of potential neo-Nazis, a group of Aryan whites living in the heavens. What?
Wait, are they actually like called that?
Whites living in the heavens.
Okay.
What did the Swedish developers mean by this? We may never know, but I do know that after 15 turns of assassinations, the Cloud Lord has only one commander left, and he's currently being pelted to death with rocks by this group of unwashed sodomites. How dignified. With his death, the final enemy faction is destroyed, and we have achieved total guild supremacy. Now we can take a look at the score graphs and observe the absolutely ridiculous growth.
God, nothing gets me going like a number going up like this, let me tell you.
Growth of our military power over time. And also, check out the economy. By the time we killed the senator, our economy was approximately 36 times larger than his, and at least 100 times larger than everyone else's. It feels good to play such a perfectly balanced class with no exploits whatsoever. Well,
Yep.
that's going to be it for this video. We've utilized thousands of thieves and murderers to slowly and then all at once take control of the world. I want to give a warm thanks to the many members of the Assassin's Guild, generously stabbing and murdering my political enemies. And finally, thank you for watching. And before you go, don't forget to turn your life around by trying War Thunder for free on PC, console, and mobile devices. Use my link below to get all this free stuff. That's all we've got for now. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to help me feed the algorithm gods. And let me know of any other videos you want me to react to.